Happy holidays and happy New Year's, folks. And today is Christmas Day. And today's going to be a little different. First of all, welcome to the Ranger Rob Country Living channel. And I've got two things going on that are kind of neat. One is I'm cooking a Tomahawk Wagyu steak today for Christmas. Never done it before, kind of know what I'm gonna do, but it's all thawed out. I'm gonna salt it for a half hour, rinse it off, season it, and then smoke it for 2 hours or so, and then bring it up to about 135. And that's a special dinner we're making for Sherry's mother, who's in assisted living, and she'll be here for Christmas. So it'll just be her, Sherry and I and her mom. But later in this video, as I go through here a little bit, I'm going to tell you a story. And the past of the story is nothing to be sad about, because it's all happened in so many years that we've kind of gotten through that story. But Sherry and I definitely got, I'd have to say, a Christmas miracle. A miracle that only my family and God could have made happen. And it may not be a over-the-top story for you, as it is the miracle of what was accomplished. And it was a combination of something that was kind of unique to our past, based on all the things that happened to us when we were younger, to the present, and it involved my son. And he doesn't, well, I don't think he realized just what an amazing thing he did. And he had to be assisted. It had to be it was a Christmas miracle. So through this video, I'll try to tell the story and then show you what my son accomplished through faith, through listening, the family stories. And the other point to this video is, if you got your kids are probably older like ours, and you kind of wonder, you know, you keep kind of telling them stuff, and you know how they kind of fight back and they'll do it their way and all that. This was also a story that I shared with my son, and not so much even my daughter, not even hardly that much with my wife, but my son held on to that story and performed a Christmas miracle. So stay tuned as I tell this story, and I hope you enjoy it. I know it might seem at the end like uneventful to you, but you can imagine how important that a little piece of my past was given back to me. And it could have only been done hang in there, guys. I hope you enjoy this story. So of course, even on Christmas, I'd take care of some compost. You got to check on the animals. Animals depend on us, so they don't care if it's Christmas or snowing or whatever. But I'm going to tell you a story. Don't get hung up on the past. It kind of sounds sad, but it's not. What is, we're over it. So imagine, if you will, I'm going to tell bits and pieces of the story. I've told you before that I lost my parents kind of early. My mother passed away at 44, and my dad at 59. So when my mother passed away, I was 14 years old. And you can imagine a great man like my father was a great person, a good father, not perfect, and also very very wealthy to most people. So I was definitely not, was not raised in a poor family, but nothing was given to me. My father actually taught me very good work ethics, and so I'm so grateful for. But imagine at age 14, my sister is older than me, so she was already moved out. In fact, my sister's 10 years older than me. So she was already out of the household. We lost our mother, so it was just him and me, a 14-year-old boy. So can you imagine my dad, coming from a Leave It to Beaver family, has to be a father and a mother in a sense. And also, you know, we just lost my mom. And imagine what he went through. Well, once again, it's nothing that, I mean, chain of events. If it hadn't happened, a lot of things wouldn't have happened to me. But you imagine 14, 15, 16 years old as I was going, you know, my father's alone, lonely, and trying to find a companion, and having a teenager that probably didn't make that very easy. Sorry, Dad. But that'll kind of give you the scenario that eventually my father needed to meet somebody, and the first gal he met, her name was B. She was all right, but wasn't the right one. Well, later on, met after I moved out, probably 5 or 6 years later, even more than that. You know, Sherry and I were dating by then, and we got married at 19, so he didn't meet this other person that probably wasn't the most popular in the family till Sherry and I was married already. So it had to be, let's see, 7 to 8 years later, he met a person that I'd have to say, to kind of sum it up, was a gold digger. But through the family. And so this was a widow that, after you kind of analyze things after a while, tend to make sure that she was always married wealthy people. And so, because of her lifestyle. And I'll leave it at that. So, you know, I told you our father passed away kind of early. Well, through the years, I mean, they did get married, and the gal was all right, and of course all we cared about was my father's happiness. And we had quite the estate also. And so to move it along a little, in 1986 is, my father has been 59, had a massive heart attack. Now, he had a mild heart attack a couple years prior to that, and had to, you know, watch his diet and stay in better health and all that. But and had bypass surgery. And about 6 years later is when he had his major heart attack. And so that probably kind of sets up the scenario that now there's a estate, and of course, in a lot of things, my sister and I got funded through the estate, pretty nice at the time, and was a miracle for me and Sherry to get our life debt free and things like that. We're not talking big bunnies, but anyway. But we also had farms. We actually owned an island in Canada, and things like that. So that whole estate went to that lady, and righteously so. It was his wife, and but it was, the sad part was, it wasn't a year or two after that, she actually found another kind of wealthy guy, and and we were fortunate enough. We did get a lot of my dad's rifles and some little things. My sister got a lot of things from my mother, so we do have some memorabilia. Well, this is where the story begins. So we lost a lot of things that were we don't have a lot of things about our parents. It was taken by the person she married, was an abuser, and took everything that she had. and of course that was my father's estate. Everything's gone, all of it. A few memorable things we have, but one thing I remember, that my mother and father met in Panama in the 40s, and my father was in the Air Force, was kind of like the Air Force then, and anyway, they got married. I don't have a lot of history about my mother, but there was this unique thing that I always remembered as a kid, and later on was this a platter. I know, it's like, what? A platter. It was a wooden platter, serving tray, that had butterflies in it. And I believe they came from South America. Beautiful thing. It was gorgeous. Well, you know, for sure it was lost, gone. So many things that we'll never see from our parents. And the whole thing turned out very ugly. That lady that married my father really didn't live long. Was abused, and also became an alcoholic, and actually didn't live that long. So, sad story. But this platter, I always used to describe it. I mean, it was like, that was this one thing I wish it was kind of more on my mother's side of things, because I did get a few things like my father's rifles and stuff. So I felt like I had some things that connect me to my father. But over the years, by the way, those things you inherit that are material, not important. It's the memories and your heart. It's all about your heart. And when your parents leave you, by the way, if you haven't had that happen, they don't leave you. They're with you all the time. I hear my mother's voices, even losing her so young, all the time at this age. So I'm thankful for that. But this platter was so beautiful. It was wood, had real butterflies in it, of beautiful colors, ones you never see around here. And I always like, I wish that was something I could have gotten. Something that just really would remind me of my mother. And I didn't really tell a lot of people that story. I think my sister and I talked about it a little bit. But I did tell my son about that platter. Wooden platter with these beautiful butterflies, real butterflies in it. And it had to be decades ago. Not just the other day, but decades ago. And this is where the Christmas miracle comes. It's kind of like a missing piece that you wish you had, and you kind of wonder, and there's no way to get it back. No way that I could describe it perfectly that anybody could actually replace it or anything. But that's where the Christmas miracle comes. And we'll talk about that a little farther. So there's the story. Don't dwell on the story so much of the family stuff. That stuff happened. It's history. And Sherry and I and my sister have it in the right places in our minds. So no bitterness, no anger, disappointment. And just remember, my father was in love. And it is what it is. Which just meant that I had to build my own empire. And that's okay too. But alright, here's the chickens. And have you noticed how beautiful they're starting to look? Kind of hurting their tail feathers. But they look like chickens again. They're getting their feathers back. Beautiful looking chickens. And happy about that. Now we gotta go feed the pigs. And then we'll talk more about this story. Alright, so the piggies are yelling at me. I'm over here by the food. By the way, it's crazy cold out here. So let me get these guys fed. Alright guys, that didn't go so well. I tripped over the fence, fell down, surrounded by pigs. They're hungry, and I did get bit by my dog, by my pigs. One pig yesterday because they were really hungry and I didn't get food to them that fast enough. So, hey, that was an adventure. All right, let's move on. All right, now I recovered after getting trampled by pigs. Is I wanted to show you the tomahawk we're cooking today. This thing's humongous. This is it. Right there. Now it's not just a tomahawk, it's a tomahawk wagyu. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. This thing is monstrous. It's over an inch thick. And we wanted to get the room temperature, so we pulled it out. Sherry pulled it out about 4 o'clock this morning. It definitely is up to room temperature. So the first thing I'm going to do with this thing is salt it for about a half hour and then rinse it. I don't want to do it any longer than that. And I'm going to, since it's wagyu, I'm only using salt and pepper, garlic on it for seasoning, because I understand that the flavor in this thing doesn't need to be masked at all with a rub and stuff. So we're going to get that started in a second here. Pull this out, salt it. I'm using kosher salt. Heavy salt it for about a half hour at the most, and then rinse it off, and then we'll be ready to put it in the Traeger and smoke it for about 2 hours or more before we even start cooking it. So yeah, pretty excited about that. All right, back outside again. We got a couple of things we got to haul. As I recover from falling down. Probably look kind of ridiculous. But what we need to do now is go back here, get the wheelbarrow, and I've got to haul some pig food over to the can over here, and then I got to haul pellets for our pellet stove from the garage. So we're going to use the gorilla cart, and if you haven't got a gorilla cart yet, these things are amazing. I don't know how we do half the things we do here without the gorilla cart. So let's go get some food for the piggies. All right, I'll go to my secret stash of food here in the back of the truck. So for those of you who have pigs, I'm now mixing hog 19 with hog 14. And so they're still going to get some nutrients, but we're going to reduce it down a little bit because, you know, the pigs got grass, man. And each bag is $1 cheaper than hog 14. It's actually hog 14 is $1 cheaper than hog 19, so it might save us a little money. So let's get these things put in here. I need 3 of them, and I can fit 3 40-pound bags in one of those steel cans, and that's what we're gonna do. All right, guys, we got this thing all filled up. We're gonna go take it over to the can. So this is where we keep all of our pellets. We have about a half a ton left right here. And I'm gonna take about 4 of these bags to the house so we can be warm and cozy tonight for Christmas. Alright guys, we're in the kitchen now. Got my tomahawk. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to salt it with kosher salt. Trying not to make too big a mess. That's the hard part. Alright, we got this thing open. Thing's beautiful. We're going to salt it now, and we're going to salt it for about a half hour, no longer than that because my daughter's made these before, and it says an hour is too long. Anyway, the salt is kind of meant to pull out the flavors, anyway, once we get done with that, rinse it off. We're going to put salt and pepper and garlic on it, and no rubs. I'm not putting rubs on this thing. Anyway, there she is. Look at that. Lots of marbling in it. This thing should be delicious. Alright, we got this salted. Thought I'd cover it, just protect it. I got a timer going, so I'm not going to over salt this thing. And quite excited. Alright guys, it's been 30 minutes and it's time to rinse this off. Then I'm going to use olive oil on it, salt and pepper and garlic, and get it ready to go into the Traeger. Alright guys, got this thing garlic and salt and pepper only with olive oil on it, and we're going to fire up the Traeger now. While we're outside with the Traeger, just filled it full of pellets. I'm using mesquite, and we'll get it into smoking mode. I have to open it up, turn it on smoking mode. It takes about 5 minutes for it to fire up. Then we'll be ready to put the Tomahawk in here. All right, guys, got the Traeger fired up. It's in smoke mode now. Look at the size of this thing. So yeah, this is going to be so good. So there we go. And yes, I still got to show you our little Christmas miracle, but we're getting there. Well, we do have one more chore we got to do with the animals. Well, I got to feed the pigs later today, but since our water's been freezing, I did buy some new small rubber bowls for the chickens. So now I can take some warm water out to both chicken pens and pour it a little bit in their bowls. These are the little bowls that we bought for the chickens, so we just dump out the ice and put some fresh water in every day till it starts warming up again. They say we might get snow today. We'll see. Okay, got water to those chickens. If you heard the dogs in the background, that's not fighting, it's playing. It's a little bark and chase game they do, but it sounds bad. Alrighty, let's move on. Alright guys, to get back to my Christmas story, did want to point out the little fish at the top here, and we're starting to get a little snow. So first of all, I know this story probably wouldn't touch your heart as much as it would be our family. But once again, the butterfly in a way represents my mother. And so we've always had appreciation for butterflies. But to get this in perspective, that I never really called out for things that I wish I would still be able to get, that was my parents. But the miracle of the fact of this was such a rare piece, the miracle, it was made up of real butterflies. Not even sure if they're allowed to do that anymore. And the fact that it was done through my son, it was like something done through my son and touched by God in a way. It was so amazing. And it was kind of funny. I mentioned this to his sister, and she didn't actually remember the story that much. So, and to come even close to what this platter was with the butterflies in it was a miracle in itself to even come close. And so without further ado, I want to show you our Christmas miracle from my son, my daughter-in-law. I'm sure she had a lot to do with it too. But between my son remembering the story and their cleverness, I've got to show you what they did. And to me, once again, our family, this is better than the fact of getting the original, because of the miracle of how my son got this. So let's go take a look. So once again, this is something that's really close to our family. And what I want to show you is amazing, just truly amazing and awesome, and grateful for a couple of things. This just cinches it that our year has been so abundant, and we had to work for it. It wasn't given to us. And with this little Christmas miracle, it just made our year complete. So without further ado, let me show you a butterfly platter that represents our family. I know, it doesn't seem like much to you probably. It means everything to me. It makes me speechless. This will have more meaning in our family than the original that I was I wish I could have still had. That was my mother and father's. But since my kids participated in this, and I got two wonderful kids, and to find this thing is an amazing story, and this will cherish all my life and will become a family emblem that will hopefully go throughout the years and generations. So with all my heart, thank you, God. With all my heart, thank you, my son and my daughter-in-law. And of course, my daughter herself is a sweetheart also. And she's done some amazing things. Like what I won't forget with her is she actually helped get my childhood ring that Sherry gave me when I was 16 years old. They had it resized together. And so you can see I got some pretty special kids. But this miracle, and it is a miracle. My son got, from my description back in the day, it was actually a platter just like this, a serving tray. And it actually had real butterflies in it. And to nail it so close means so much to me and Sherry. So guys, I hope that your year was as abundant as ours was, and we're very grateful and thankful. I hope you have children as great as ours. So proud of them. So guys, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a great New Year, and I hope through our channel that we can participate together to have abundance, to realize that faith is involved in a lot of things that Sherry and I do, but The other part is it takes hard work and devotion from us and you. So thank you for watching our channel. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for all the great comments. And I hope that this is not a little miracle to us. This is huge. I hope little miracles and big miracles are shared in your family every day. So praise the Lord. Thankful to my kids. Thankful to our viewers. And guys, have a wonderful year. Until next time, bye now.
Our videos are made possible by Ranger Rob Poopy Bags, available at Amazon right now. Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.